Student, today we are going to talk about anions. Children, I'm sorry because I was not well, so I couldn't continue after cations. Today I'm doing it, and you'll be able to uh, uh, understand what are anions. First, anions are negatively they are negatively charged ions. And how they are formed? Suppose I take an example of chlorine, which has got atomic number is 17. So what will be the electronic configuration? 2, 8, 7. K shell, L shell and M shell. So it can take one electron plus one electron. So it will become, after taking one electron, it will become chlorine 1 minus, electronic configuration will be 2, 8, 8. The last shell is uh, completed with 8 electrons. This is a monovalent anion, or a monovalent negatively charged ion. Then comes the next one is chlorine. Then comes, suppose we take oxygen. This is example number 1. Example 2, this is monovalent. Then comes oxygen. If we take oxygen, here what is oxygen? This is 8, atomic number is 8. So it will become, what is the electronic configuration? K, L, 2 and 6. It can take 2 electrons, correct? So here it can take 2 electrons. So this will become, oxygen will become 2 minus, and since it has taken 2 electrons from any other atom or any other atom, then it will become, electronic configuration will be 2 and 8. In the same way, I hope you can see here, in the same way, if it is nitrogen, we will say that nitrogen has got atomic number is 7. Atomic number is 7. So electronic configuration will be 2 and 5. So it can take 3 electrons. 3 electrons. When it takes 3 electrons, it becomes 3 minus, correct? And along with that, it will also have the electronic configuration will become what? 2 and 8. So this is divalent. This will become, oxygen is divalent, and this is trivalent anion. Trivalent anion and divalent anion. Now the word anion. Why the word anion has been given? Because when it loses electrons, when it gains electrons, the elements, they get a negative charge because they are gaining electrons, and this gaining of electrons is called is due to the capacity they can complete their last shell. 8 electrons in the last shell, and when they gain electrons, they get a negative charge, and this negative charge, in the process of electrolysis, which I'll teach you in the electrolysis chapter, that it will go to the electrode anode. It will, all these negatively charged ions will go to anode. They will go to anode, and this I think you have understood. Then they will go to anode, and anode is, they will go to anode, and anode is a positively charged positively charged or positive electrode. Charged or positive, you can write positive electrode. A positive electrode, and since these are all negatively charged ions, they will go to the positive, opposite charges attract each other. So this will go to anode. All these monovalent, trivalent, divalent, they will all go, negatively charged ions will go to anode electrode. This is done. And after this comes that if any element has, I'm talking about valency here. So if any element has 1, 2 or 3 electrons, very important. If the element has, if the last shell has, suppose valence shell is last shell, valence shell it has electrons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then here, okay, then here what will happen is, here you will get 1, 2, here you will have, and valency. How will you find out from the valence shell? I told you before that if the number of electrons in the last shell in the valence shell decides the valency, not the it is not the valency. But when it comes to if the last shell has 1 electron, 2 electron or 3 electron, then the valency will be 1, 2 or 3. But if the valency for carbon, it has got, or for silicon, they will all have 4 in the last shell. So they will have, will be 4. Then valency will be 4. If the last shell has 4 electrons, it will have, valency will be 4. But when it comes to 5, 6, 7, 8, then here you have to give a thought. What happens is, when the last shell has 5 electrons, that means it has to gain 3 electrons to make it 8. So valency will be 3. If the last shell has 6 electrons, then it has to take 2 electrons. So it will be 2. Valency will be 2. When if the last shell has got 7 electrons, which group has 7 electrons in the last shell? That is 17th group. So this is 17th group, this is 16th group. So this will be 1, 7 plus 1, 8. It has to take 1 electron and it will become 8. So, and the valency will be 1. But if it is 8 electrons, all the noble gases, that is the 0 group, 18th group, have got how many electrons? They have got 8 electrons in the last shell. Only helium has 2 electrons in the last shell. So helium is also duplet completed. So 8 electrons in the last shell. So here it will be, valency will be 0. This is for the 18th group. That is the noble gas group. First, this is all done. Valence shell and valency. Then comes the next one that we are going to study today is variable valency, which is very important. Again, variable valency is, suppose I take variable valency. Variable valency. Which one is variable valency? Suppose I have, there are some elements, most of the elements have got 1 valency. But there are certain elements which have 2 valencies. Suppose I take for nitrogen, it has got valency 3 and 5. Valency, I am talking about valency. Phosphorus also has 3 and 5 valency. Now for iron. Iron has got, iron is Fe, that is, this comes from ferrum, so valency is 2 and 3. Cuprum, that is copper. Copper has got valency how much? 1 and 2. Now this type of valency happens, why they exist? Because I showed you the structure of an element, that atomic structure of the atom. This is the nucleus and these are the shells. Correct? K, L, M. Now what happens? Suppose any element I am taking, any element which has got the last shell as K, L, M, suppose N. It has got 2 electrons or 1 electron. So it can give 1 electron and get one valency 1, but sometimes what happens, they give electrons from the last but one shell, that is the what? That is the penultimate shell. Last but one shell is the penultimate shell. Penultimate shell. The last but one shell gives electron. It may give 1 or 2 electrons and they become what? They give, then that atom gets, or that element gets 2 electrons. Variable valency it is. 2 electrons and they get 2 valency. Variable valency, that's why. So variable valencies are, you get it in this manner. And in variable valency, what we do is, nowadays in the modern day, how they write the 2 valencies. Suppose iron, ferrous, oh, one more thing, 2 and 3. Now it has got valency 2 and 3. A very important rule in naming the valency. If an element or an atom has got two valency, the smaller one will have us, small is us, and big is ik. Big is ik. Small us, big ik. Remember in this way, small us, big ik. So what will happen? For iron, 2 is small, so it is ferrous. If I write FeO, then you will say ferrous oxide. But nowadays what they do is, they write like this, ferrous, Fe2, then oxide. They write like this. And suppose I write Fe2O3, then they will, this is ferric oxide, because here, how has this formed? This is also, though some students may be knowing, children may be knowing that how chemical formulas are formed. Like iron has, suppose here, iron has valency 3. 2 valencies are there, so I am taking 3 here, and here oxygen is 2. Oxygen has got 1 valency only, 2. So they will crisscross, and the formula will be Fe2O3. Here the ferric oxide, ferric, because I have taken the valency of iron, the bigger one. So the bigger one will be ik and the smaller one will be us. Plumbus 2 and plumbic 4. Lead has got 2 valencies, 2 and 4. Stannous, stannic, 2 and 4. Tin, Sn is tin. So it has valency 2 and 4. Like this, you will get the valency. And ferric oxide, and nowadays you will see like this. They write Fe3 and oxide. Like the way they write King the 4th, King Pope John Paul the 4th, the 5th, the 7th, the way they write, nowadays the valencies are also written in this form. So you have to know which are the formulas, which are the elements which have variable valency, and they are very little less are there. You can see Selina's textbook also, and Birav Dalal also. Both are very informative, and you will be very helpful. It will be very helpful for you. So with this, today I finish, and tomorrow I am going to, in the next lesson, I am going to teach you how chemical bonds are formed, and then after chemical bonds, though I have given you some information here, next after that we will do chemical equations, and then how to balance the equations, and so on and so forth. Thank you, children.